welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement, getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lynda Daniele, and I am the author of Grandpa Nick's Bump, about my husband, who some children across the street asked us to be grandparents and asked my husband to be grandfather when they realized that they didn't have a grandfather. And also I have Grandpa Nick the Conductor, about our days working at a local trolley museum here. My husband and my son worked at the Trolley Museum as conductors. And so that's what this story is about. I want to take a minute to thank Reader's Magnet for having this platform for us. It's just so very, very important. It's very unusual because this is dedicated to the authors, where we actually have a chance to speak about how we write, why we write, the stories that we have, perhaps read from the different things that we've written. And that's like really an unusual platform. Normally it's the publishers that do something like this. And I know that this had started during the beginning of the pandemic, and this is actually my third year. And Reader's Magnet has been really wonderful to be able to work with. So I appreciate this platform very, very much. I also wanted to say, feel free, with all of the videos that all of the authors have been doing, feel free to share them, send them out, get them out on the internet so that we can meet more people that way. And it would be really, really good for us. So feel free to share at any time. So we have Grandpa Nick's Bump, and I've had some people ask me to read Grandpa Nick's Bump in full today, and it's a little children's book, but I think it's got some profound messages in it. Even though hopefully it's simple, I tried to write it that way, but I think that an adult can also get something from this as well. My dog is walking around, and so if you see her jumping around, she usually jumps up here on the couch. So and I'm in my living room today instead of my kitchen, so it's a little different view. So Joseph, the one in the story who goes in the trash can, may come later. I'm not sure if he's going to come. I thought perhaps that he would, but if you hear the dog going crazy, that's probably what it is. So anyway, I thought that I would read Grandpa Nick's Bump, and then talk about a few more things after that. And I did have some people ask me to do that. So, and I don't, it's a short story. This is a true story. This is not fiction at all. This is a true story. And again, it's the story of when my husband, he was working in the driveway one day, and the 4 children that live across the street were very young, and they came over and they asked him to be their grandfather when they discovered they didn't have a grandfather. Daryl says, "Hi, Lynda. Nice to see you again here." Thank you. It's good to be talking to you. Feel free to use the chat at any time. And if I don't get to that chat, please know that at the end of this video, I'll try to go back and type in any of the answers if you have any questions, if I don't get them, okay? Anthony is probably working. He's not here today. Right. Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and read this little story. And again, it is the children realized that they didn't have a grandfather. And unfortunately, well, he did say yes, which was wonderful. But unfortunately, about 4 months or so later, he passed away, and they did not have Nick as a grandfather for very long. And the bump, we called the bump, it was a very massive tumor on his head, and we thought it was meningioma, but it was not cancerous. We did find that out later. But so it's Grandpa Nick, and it is a true story. And what I do with my books is the children have to look for a little dove in the story, which represents the Holy Spirit. And Rysel said, "When I found out your book was about your husband, I assumed he'd be happy wherever he is now." I believe that. I believe that he is happy. I do believe that. But the little dedication here is looking to the light of the Father with love. This little book is dedicated to the importance of fatherhood. And it's the Father is God the Father in my faith tradition. I'm Catholic, and so you have God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And so it's dedicated to God the Father and the importance of fatherhood, because I think sometimes we forget about the importance of fatherhood. I do think that we do that. We kind of take dads for granted, and we need to make sure that we tell them, thank you, and that we love them as much as we possibly can. Okay. And this is a little picture of the children. Let's see if I can get this right. With my husband. And they are much, much older now. Oh my goodness. 2 are in college and 2 are in high school. So they were very young when this story was happening. So there's 4 children. There's Joseph, Emma, Margaret, and Sean. And they're just as cute as a button. And we're all really, really close. So here's Joseph. And over here, if I get this right, over more. There's a little Holy Spirit dove. And they have to find the Holy Spirit on each page. The rest of the crew is not here today. I hope that they would be able to. I was hoping Joseph would be able to come today, but apparently they aren't. So it's just me today. So I'm going to read the story. Thank you, Josh. It's nice to be able to talk to you. I can't see you, but I can talk to you. Joseph was upside down over the trash can with Grandpa Nick holding him by his feet. "Do you want to go in?" Grandpa said. He was so silly. He was just very, very silly. There he is going in the trash can. It was clean. Alrighty. Grandpa Nick was a fix-it Nick, and he fixed all the broken knickknacks and gobbledygooks around. Sean's pedal needed fixing on his tricycle, and when it got fixed, it was a Nick's best fix. And there's Sean with Grandpa Nick fixing that tricycle. On a typical day, I mostly write probably on the weekends, Canumber. On a typical day, I usually write on the weekends, but like might be all weekend, and to dedicate a weekend to writing. Margaret was a quiet one with watching eyes. She watched as Grandpa Nick drew his hearts, trains, and bridges with her. After that was done, he put her in a tree and followed that with "Come and get me" and a "hee hee hee." So there's the little cards and the bridges and trains. My husband was an engineer, so he loved bridges. He loved anything like that, any kind of construction. And there is Margaret running. Am I going the wrong way? Here we go. Whoops, this way. Margaret running with Grandpa Nick, and the little Holy Spirit dove is on the top of the tree. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Michael. I'm glad that you're inspired I'm hoping to be able to inspire people to do this. Oh, Paler, I'm happy to be able to share pictures of my family. They're just so wonderful, and I'm just so fortunate to have them. Sean is very young on that picture. Yes, and you met him yesterday. Yes. The oldest one was Emma, who was ladylike and prim. During breakfast, she would complain that milk was filled up to the brim. So Grandpa Nick would get a cloth and mop up table spills, with Sean on the other side using markers on the sills. And there's Sean making a mess. And the Holy Spirit's in the window. Emma, the listener, loved stories and poked her head up to hear them. She fell off the couch laughing, and then she would repeat them. So there they are being silly. What is the happiest moment of my life? Oh my goodness gracious. I've been very fortunate. I have a lot of happy moments, but probably when I got married and when my son was born. I would probably say that that's the happiest. And then also when my son was married, that was a beautiful day. And when they had their daughter, my granddaughter, that was spectacular. So I've been very fortunate. I really have been very fortunate. So now the children are questioning what that thing is on Grandpa Nick's head. And as I said before, it was a bump, and it was very big. We never called it a tumor. I don't know why, but we never did. What a loony time Grandpa Nick would sure provide, until one day they noticed there was a head bump on the side. Aside his head, a little bump that wasn't there before. Over time began to grow too big, and what was it growing for? So they have lots and lots of questions. Paler, what I'd like to see is Grandpa Nick having other jobs too, like a police officer. Oh, there's a good idea. There's a good idea for something in the future. So now the children make a lot of cards for Grandpa Nick because he's really not feeling well. The gift of the children was to grow Grandpa Nick's grins so he could smile at the side bump. So silly games and laughter were their presents of the day, and Grandpa Nick would smile and take them out to play. What were 3 of your favorite books in your childhood? I remember it's a golden book with a lion. I forget the name of it. Secret Garden is my all-time favorite book. And let's see what else would be good. When I would go to the library, and there was a book about I love music and Broadway, and there was a book about Lorenz Hart, musician, I think that's his first name. And there was a little book about him. It was just a tiny book, and I took it out all the time. I took it out every week. I'd turn it in and I'd take it out again the same day. No complaining did he do about that side bump there, but the children noticed Grandpa Nick saying a little prayer. Keep my children happy, Lord, wherever they may go, and I will wink from time to time and play out in the snow. So there's Grandpa Nick saying a little prayer, and there's taking the bus to Boston. We live about 2 hours from Boston, so we took the bus so that he wouldn't have to drive. He didn't feel good then at all at that time. Sorry about my phone going off, but that's what happens when it's you're broadcasting live. Neil says, what would you say were your first early experiences that showed you the power of language? Oh my goodness. My nanny could read and write in Italian, but she could not read and write in English. And I remember the day specifically when I was sitting on her lap and she was reading, and she was not able to say the words that were on the page. And I recognized it, and I knew she was talking about the pictures, but I was not able to, she was not able to read the words in English. And I remember specifically, thank God I didn't say, Nani, those aren't the words. I had enough sense, hopefully, to, not embarrass her like that. Would never want to do that. So, but that was a very powerful moment. It really taught me that she wanted me to read, even though she was having trouble doing it. Okay, so this is that bus to Boston. And again, we're taking the bus because Nick did not feel well. And it was a 2-hour trip all the time. Rhett says, do you think writers should write books according to what readers want or according to what they're passionate about? To what they're passionate about. Why bother? I really feel that way. If there's something that you want to teach or you want to say, that's really, really important. But to just write a book for what people want, that makes no sense to me. Other people may disagree. Which authors are you good friends with? I've talked to Ellie, and how that's on this festival. How do you help each other become better writers? Mostly by talking. The round tables that are going on are very, very good. I'm enjoying those. I wasn't able to get into some of them, but I am enjoying them. Okay. And now, unfortunately, people have a sad day every once in a while. And there's the parents waiting for the school bus. And they say, Grandpa Nick died. One day, the children got off the school bus. Their mom and dad were there to greet them with sad faces through and through. They told Joseph, Sean, Margaret, and Emma that Grandpa Nick had died. They told him he was happy with Jesus at his side. They cried when they had heard it, and that's okay to cry. We'll miss him very much, their parents did reply. I think it's very important when there's a death in the family, when children are learning about it and have not experienced that before. I think it's very, very important to let them know that it's okay to be upset. It's okay to cry. I'm sorry, I'm drinking. Okay. Jed says, if your book were made into a movie, which actors would play your characters? I have no idea. The most important one would be who Grandpa Nick would be. Have to have a beautiful smile, because that's what his smile was like. That would be the first thing. Probably wouldn't even care if they could act. Just have to have a smile. Rysel, do you ever feel Grandpa Nick's presence when you're writing the books? Yes, all the time. I've had an experience where I was driving, And I used to take Nick back and forth to the hospital between the bus, and then I would drive, and he would, after his appointment, he would be really sick because it was kind of a tough appointment, and he would lay down. So I remember after he died, I felt his presence in the car. I do remember that specifically. Rysel, was there ever a time when you cried while writing the book? Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. So there's the Holy Spirit on Sean's head. What 3 tips do you want to give a writer working on his first book? Think really hard about what you want to say and how you want to say it and who your audience is. Is your audience for children? Is your audience for teenagers? Is your audience for adults, 20 to 40-year-olds, or is it for seniors? Who's your audience? Who are you trying to reach? And to think hard about what you really want to say. That's probably what I would consider there. Okay. So here we have the castle. And there's the Holy Spirit right there by the rainbow. I don't know if you can see that because it's tiny. In heaven, there's a mansion for everyone, Jesus said. And Grandpa Nick's was a big rainbow castle, Sonny Sean had said. They all sat down to draw every rainbow they could draw with a Grandpa Nick and me card that was precious and inspired. And Sean really did, he talked about that yesterday. He's the one that said there was castles and all the other kids started drawing rainbows. What triggered you to write this book in this particular way? I wanted children to know that death and dying is a normal thing, a natural thing. And in our society today, it's like it's just out of everybody's mind. Nobody thinks about it at all until something happens. So there's no preparation. When my son was little, we have cats. And if they brought home a mouse or something, chipmunk, whatever, we had little funerals in the backyard. I wanted him to be sure to know that death was normal. It's a normal thing that happens to people. And it's not a foreign thing at all. And so children have to learn how to cope. And that was one of my goals, was to have a happy book, but that would be dealing with death and dying. When I took this book over to the public library, my local public library, they put it in bibliotherapy. So it was in the parents section. They since have moved it, which I'm kind of happy about. It's where the children can take it out. But because of the content, they put it in bibliotherapy to help parents read this book to children when they've lost a grandparent or a parent or somebody that they love. Rhett says, if you had the opportunity to live anywhere in the world for a year while writing a book that took place in that same setting, where would you choose? The same setting. I love Maine. Here in the United States, Maine is just absolutely beautiful. The poetry that I wrote this summer was because I had I was able to write there because I was at the beach, and I really, really enjoyed that. So here's the last page here. So even though that day was hard and everyone was sad, we know that Grandpa Nick is with Jesus and his dad. No tears or sadness are allowed in heaven, don't you see, as Grandpa Nick tastes snowflakes and giggles and hee-hees. So here we have Jesus and Nick with his snowflake, because he was going to take the children out to play in the snow. And we have God the Father holding the Holy Spirit dove. And what I like about this picture is that they're smiling. When you look at artwork and you look at pictures of Jesus or God the Father, they are always frowning, very serious. But I wanted it to be happy. And here's Joseph coming out of the trash can. Okay, and part of the reason that we did this is we felt like this story had happened so fast, that those 4 months had passed so fast, that in the beginning of the book, he goes in the trash can. And then at the end of the book, it's like the story's gone by so fast, he comes out of the trash can. So all this it happens in such a short amount of time. Neil says, what behind the scenes tidbit in your life would probably surprise your readers the most? I have no idea. Probably just that music. I spoke about that yesterday. Music is very, very important to me. That was one thing after my husband passed away. I didn't do music for a very long time. And I'm kind of back into music now. So I put it away for years, like 9 or 10 years. I didn't really touch the piano or anything. And then now I'm kind of back into that. So that's kind of, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And then there's just one little page about my background. I have been a teacher for many years. I taught adult literacy. And I worked in a homeless shelter for many years. I feel very strongly about helping people that need help. And that's kind of what I was able to do. And I taught music for a while. I had my own voice studio. And so little things like that, been a very varied career. So I can't believe that it's 4:59. I can't believe it. I did want to tell people too that I think that these books are good for Christmas presents and Christmas, believe it or not. I can't believe it is coming up. And again, I hope that people will share these videos. If you like them, you like what you see from not just me, but from the other authors as well in the Storytellers Festival. It's just really, really nice to be able to share these and get the messages that we're trying to say out into the world. It's just very, very important. So again, it's Grandpa Nick's Bump and Grandpa Nick the Conductor. I'm working on a story also, The Adventures of Grandpa Nick and the Model A. The Model A, it's a Model A Ford, 31 Ford coupe. And it's like this car here. All right, there's a lot of light behind me so you can see the words. If I go like that, maybe that helps a little bit. So you can see it. And the only one in this next story talking is the car. And she's about 5 years old. She's sassy. She does not understand people at all. And she just kind of tells it as it is, the way she sees life. And hopefully it will be kind of funny. I'm hoping to have it be funny. My wife is thinking of writing a book for our kids. What advice can you give her? Keep a journal. I have a notebook next to my bed. Sometimes thoughts, important things come into your mind and you don't expect it. And so you want to be able to write that down as much as you can. And to just like, if she wants to write stories about your family or your family history, maybe her parents, your parents, that would be really wonderful. That's how I started, was I wanted to write for my granddaughter. I wanted her to know Grandpa Nick because he had passed away before she was born. But she may have met him in heaven, because I do think things like that happen as well. Clench says, thank you for sharing your story with us. Well, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to share it, and hopefully people will be able to learn a little bit. I've been a teacher for a very, very long time, and I think this is my way of teaching. It's very important, I think, to spread joy and to spread happiness. The world is a crazy place, and we need to be the light. I can see the light coming in from my window. But we need to be the light to each other. We really, truly do. That's a crazy, crazy world, and we need to do that. Looking forward to your new book. Hopefully by the festival next year, I should have it, pretty much either on the way to being wrapped up or being done. When you're enjoying what you're doing, time seems to fly by. Absolutely. It's totally crazy. I'm really running out of time. And then if anybody would like to get my books, it's on the little scroll down here. I think my website is there, the name of the books. And I would be happy to answer any chat that I didn't get to today. So if I wasn't able to answer you, check back in a little while, and I'll try to type in on my booth. I'll try to type in some answers. If anybody's had typed in chat that I did not get to yesterday, I did type in some answers to some of those questions. Jake says, but made it successfully. Thank you for what you do and keep sharing your stories. Well, thank you. I enjoy it. I really enjoy writing. It's, as you get older, you just want to have people know that you've had some wonderful experiences. We all have sad things. We all have joyful things. And I think I understand that even in very difficult times, and I know the world is in a crazy place and people are having a difficult time today, we can still be joyful and spread the light, even in the midst of very, very difficult times. I just think that that's so important. At our core, we are all good. I truly believe that. And being that light for each other, listening, stopping, noticing if somebody needs help, something as simple as giving somebody a drink of water. It's not hard, and it doesn't cost a penny. A smile, you might smile at one person, and that's the first smile that they've had in a week. You don't know. So keep smiling, and thank you so much. Then thank you. And I will see you. I will be here tomorrow on Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Standard. And I will also be here on the last day of the festival at 4:30 Eastern Standard. And if I can get my family back, I will. I'm surprised the dog wasn't barking crazy today. Usually she does. So take care. God bless. And be the light. Bye-bye.